Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is Monday, November 17th, 2025. That is a whole lot more than 5.5 years of Torah every single day. Thank you, Penny. It is broadcast 1,427. Adele and Jonathan, Kate, John, and Michael, Lydia, Corinne, nice to see you, friend. It's good to see all of you. Hope that you and yours are safe and well. We're beginning a new Torah reading in our learning this week. It's good to see all of you. Let's see who else is here. We'll sing a bracha and we'll learn some Torah. Rose, Boker Tov. It's good to see all of you. I love when we wish each other a good morning just to start the day. That feels good. Adrian and Valerie, Cecile, Boker Tov, Hineni. Good to see you. David, nice to see you, my friend. Ivy, welcome. Linda and Cynthia, Arlene and Eileen, Dave and Debbie, Boker Tov. If I missed anyone, my apologies. Hope that you are ready for a good day. Let's start it with some learning. Camille and Jacqueline, Barbara and Linda, Cynthia, Boker Tov. Hi, Emily. Let's take a breath, sing a bracha, learn some Torah. Ya lai 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 lai, ya lai lai lai. Diddy I lie 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 I la lie lie Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech haolam Asher Kiddushanu B'mitzvotav V'tzivanu La'asok B'divrei Torah, la'asok b'divrei Torah, hafoch ba v'hafoch ba, la'asok b'divrei Torah. Diddy I lie 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 lie, diddy I lie lie lie, diddy I lie 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 lie. I la la. Boker Tov, everyone. Let's learn some Torah. We are learning Parshat Toldot this week. Toldot literally means generations. I was giving some thought to how to frame the first learning that we'll share together on Parshat Toldot this year. I want to dedicate it in memory of our friend John's uncle, Aaron Horowitz, who I knew. I didn't know that he passed away just yesterday morning. May his memory be for a blessing. I'm so sorry for your loss, my friend. Please send my comfort everywhere. Parshat Toldot actually very much is about generations, and so, John, thank you for making sure we knew to offer you comfort and for your story to be woven into the large story of this week's Torah portion. Toldot comes from the word yeled, to give birth or child. The beginning of the parsha is interesting. Ve'ela Toldot Yitzchak ben Avraham. Avraham holidet Yitzchak. This is the story of Yitzchak, the son of Avraham. Avraham gave birth to Yitzchak. And of course, that's not how it works. But the biology is not the point of this parsha. Lineage, in a spiritual way, is. We'll make the point later this week that you could see Rebecca of the next generation as the inheritor of Avram's leadership. She is the one who takes action. She is the one who leads the generations forward in very complicated ways this week. But I was giving thought to how to frame this week's learning, because there are different kinds of stories that are told. Often you see a journalist explain how we got to this situation. And in fact, that's one of the most valuable things you can do. How did we get here? So we can understand what here is and what do we do to move forward. This parsha includes that, and it is absolutely what the book of Breshit really is. If you look at the book of Genesis, it is the family story that leads to the liberation story, the tribal. In fact, it begins with cosmic. This is the creation of the universe, of existence itself. Then we get into what it is to be human. We do a fine, narrow lens to look more closely at the emergence of the Israelite clan, and then we talk about Am Yisrael. This Parsha is a pivot point. It is a nexus. How did we get here? And what does the future hold? Because here it is. This is the story of Isaac. How did Isaac get here? He is the son of Abraham. Abraham gave birth to Isaac. Of course, that is very complicated. But let's leave the complications behind and say, okay, that's the past. And what happens now? Remember, at the end of last week's Torah portion, Chayei Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah meet, fall in love, and start the story again. Here's how our Parsha continues that story. Isaac was 40 years old, and you know the number 40. In Torah, 40 is an archetypal number. It is the definition of journey. 40 days and nights of rain, 40 years in the desert. 40 matters. Isaac was 40 when he took to wife Rebekah. He didn't quite take her to wife. She chose to go after being secured, I guess, in this arrangement by Avraham's servant Eliezer. Yitzchak had very little to do with this. But this might mean when they consummated their marriage. Who was Rebekah? So remember what we learned a second ago. This is the story of Isaac. These are the generations of Isaac, son of Avraham. His whole story is Avraham gave birth to Isaac. That's his whole story that we have. Listen to Rebekah's. Isaac was 40 years old when he took to wife Rebekah, daughter of Betuel the Aramean of Padan Aram, sister of Lavan the Aramean. She gets more backstory than Yitzchak. Doesn't that tell you what's coming? Yitzchak does act. This is one of the few times that he acts. Vaye'atar Yitzchak l'Adonai. Isaac begged with God, davened, according to tradition, on behalf of his wife, because she hadn't had children. And God responded to the plea, and his wife Rebekah conceived. Now, this is in very many ways the archetypal story of biblical matriarchs. Matriarchs have a hard time becoming pregnant. That comes to what we call an apotheosis. The peak expression of this idea is actually in Christianity, because that's the whole notion of the Immaculate Conception. That Jesus' mother became pregnant not in the way that two people create life, but with God doing it. That is the ultimate expression of what is happening more biologically here with divine intervention, that God opens the mother's womb. That actually happens many times in the Hebrew Bible, including the story of Hannah, including the story of Rebekah, including the story of Rachel, including the story of Sarah. It is very complicated and very beautiful. It just is fraught with the way that religions take this text and then build mythologies on it. Rebekah becomes pregnant, and this is a very famous part of our story. Vayitrotetsu habanim b'kirba. This is chapter 25, verse 22. The children struggled in her womb, and she said, Im kain lama ze anochi. If this is what it is, why do I exist? Now, we're going to pause in the question today. I'm not going to read the response today. The children struggled. Her pregnancy was painful. And she goes to seek out God, Lidrosh et Adonai, the oracle, many believe, who can discern God's intentions. And she said, Im kain, if so, lama ze anochi, why do I exist? This is a moment where the backstory and the current moment are leading to confusion in Rebekah about the future. What does she know about her husband? This is Isaac, Abraham's son. We know that story, not simple. She's a strong woman. Her language is present. Her voice is present in the decisions about her own future. But what is happening inside of her is outside of her control. She is someone who can exert control, and yet what's happening inside of her is out of her control. That's actually where the question, I believe, comes from. I don't understand, God. Why this pain? Can't life be simpler? Remember what the story is, how it's introduced. Ele Toldot Yitzchak. This is the story of Isaac. Rebekah is the one who exercises agency in the life of Isaac. but she can't control what's happening. That's very hard. When we look at the world around us, and we know it doesn't have to be like this, it could be simpler. There are moments when we pray. There are two moments of prayer in the first few verses of the Parsha. Isaac prays on behalf of the life that he and his wife wish for. Actually, if you look closely at the verse, maybe not even the life that he wishes for. He pleads on behalf of his wife. He has been so hurt and so impacted by the life of his father that he doesn't seem able to exert control himself over the world. But he knows that his wife believes that life goes on. So he prays on her behalf, and God answers. And then, when life does begin stirring inside of her, it's too much. And we know that feeling, not physically as a man can I claim to understand the experience. But when she says, I don't understand, Im Cain, if this is how it's going to be, why me? Why am I? I'm someone who exerts control. Why me? So I want to offer my own prayer for a moment. As a man who, on the path towards having his own children, thank God, benefited from the support of IVF, of technological support, medical support, in order to have children. And that's as a man. I'm imagining that there are others in our community who have made these prayers. Please God, life. And as life begins, please God, help. How? All of this is a beautiful struggle. Isaac and Rebekah get to start a story, and it doesn't go simply. But it does lead us to where we are. And we have prayed, just as our ancestors did, to make it to this point. We have our own moments of Im Cain lama ze anochi. Oh, if it has to be like this, then why? And the answer is because generations from now, someone else, our spiritual or biological descendants, someone else will struggle in life, because that's what life includes. I'm not comparing our decisions and our moments to Isaac's and Rebekah's. Everyone deserves the dignity of being seen as themselves. But what a gift that life exists. What a struggle to see it through. But what an amazing blessing to be able to look back and say, Eila Toldot, this is the story. Your story matters, friends. How we got here matters. What we do with this moment, I hope it is more informed by all of our work to learn about the past and all of our dreaming about a future worthy of children. I know for some of us, this is a real struggle, and I send compassion to you. Not only what we do with life, but to be able to have this conversation, that takes work and often a miracle. And so with our matriarch Rebekah, who asked Im Cain lama ze anochi, if so, why am I here? Let us be a good answer to that question, so that we could do our work. And one day in the future, may descendants of ours be able to respond with the same beautiful attempt at a fulfillment. If we ask, why us? Let them be the answer. Take a breath, friends. Send your hearts to the east. Let's sing. Kol hod balevav pnima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefate mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia od lo avda tikvatenu התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. Am Yisrael Chai. See you soon, my friends.